Oh dear.
Okay, everybody. Hi, everybody. This is Michael Tucker coming to you from Republicans for Harris. We are coming into the final stretch the last week here. And if you have not gone out to start voting, do it now because early voting has already begun. And people are already starting to kind of go into the polling locations. And the great thing about doing this right now is that if you file your vote right now, if there's any problems with it, you still have time between now and election day, which is next Tuesday, to be able to start, or sorry, a week from Tuesday, to be able to start getting that resolved. So, a couple of things that we're going to share with you here. If you have any questions or you want more information on us for Republicans for Harris, if you are a Republican or were a Republican and are fed up with Donald Trump and some of the things that you're hearing from the MAGA Republicans and the extremists, then I want you to come visit us on our website at Republicans for Harris. NC is in North Carolina.com. And there's also a sign up actually that is for KamalaHarris.com/Republicans. And that's a way to sign up too if you want to donate to the Harris campaign and be able to kind of work with them and be able to support them in this last week that they've got going on here. If you are looking to volunteer and you are looking to be able to kind of participate in some of the different events, there's still a couple going on between now and election day. Those are on mobilize.us, and that's the Democratic Party's kind of booking engine that basically you put that in and it'll show you for wherever it is that you're located, some of the events that are happening. Some really cool things. I'm going to a Taco Tuesday event on Tuesday evening in South Charlotte. That'll be a good place to kind of connect. And we also have some national coverage that'll be coming in here as well too for the last week to be able to cover people like us that are former Republicans who are just looking to be able to stand on the principles that our party was founded on, the principles of Abraham Lincoln, the principles of Ronald Reagan, the principles that really have been abandoned by Donald Trump and a lot of his lackeys over the last little bit here. So let's move beyond that. One of the great things that has happened in this point in time is we've had a chance to meet a lot of really interesting people, and I want to introduce you all to somebody who we've had the privilege of being able to meet through a lot of his advocacy work. And Joe Peascoe is coming in from Greensboro, North Carolina. We have some people that are in Greensboro, but Joe has been really active and has done a tremendous job talking about some of the different things that the different perspectives, especially for fathers that are out there as well too. So, Joe, welcome aboard. Super
Thanks,
happy
sir.
to have you. Tell us about yourself.
All right. So again, my name is Joseph Peascoe. I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina. 42 years old. I'm a traditional GOP voter, and I am at a point in my life where I am a father of a young woman. I've been married 11 years. Have my own small business, and over the last couple of years, I feel like a minority of loud and vocal folks on the far left and on the far right have kind of, dwarfed out the voices of reason in the middle of the political spectrum, including mine. And it's been recently that, I didn't know a lot about Kamala Harris prior to her, gaining the what's the word I'm looking for? Becoming the candidate for president in the Democratic Party. And, when I went into the presidential debate with an open mind, just trying to, learn. I was sitting there taking notes about what questions were asked, how did they answer. And I stopped, when Donald Trump started talking about eating cats and dogs,
Mm,
because I thought to myself, I said, I knew this guy was kind of full of crap. But
mm,
when he said that, I felt like my intelligence was personally insulted, and I knew right then and there that like I said, I voted for him in 2016 because I truly thought he was a better candidate than Hillary Clinton. In 2020, I voted for the independent candidate because I didn't think, it was almost like I couldn't pull the trigger on either one because I didn't believe in either one.
mm,
But seeing Kamala Harris right beside Donald Trump, you know, and then doing um, my own research based on how I learned to research in graduate school. watching different points of view. And it really, you know, I can't describe exactly what it was, but I was almost compelled to start speaking up and speaking out
Mhm.
because, what I'm seeing in the GOP right now is it's been hijacked by far right extremists. I mean, we're literally one step away from having a fascist president. And
Mhm.
those of us that can see through all the, misinformation and know how to navigate social media and, understand the biases in media right now, I can see it clear as day. There's other
Mhm.
people, a lot of older people, a lot of people out in the rural counties that, there's nothing you could say to them. And really, I've had a lot of success, swaying voters, especially GOP voters. And my focus is to follow in suit and cross party lines to vote for Kamala Harris. I've had a
Mhm.
lot of success with it. And really, it uh, it comes down to one main question that I have to ask myself: if I passed away, and and my daughter's the love of my life, my wife
Mhm.
is the love of my life. If I passed away today, and my daughter and my wife had to face the rest of their lives without me, right
Mhm.
now there's only one candidate that makes any sense for me to vote for. And I'll
Mhm.
say this, I look at it from a perspective as as a typical Republican voter. A vote for Donald Trump would probably be good individually for me as a single or for as a married white Christian male. It would probably be good. But a vote for Donald Trump would not be good for anybody that makes my life valuable, especially my wife, my daughter, my friends in the LGBT community. Um, I'm a advocate for people in recovery as well. I worked as
Mhm.
an addiction therapist for a long time, and I'm trained in different counseling modalities, and really in working in inpatient treatment. I've developed a skill set, that's geared towards busting through people's denial systems.
Mhm.
And I, I look at it this way too: is my vote this year is kind of a protest because, like, I feel like it's the emergency brakes on a
Mhm.
runaway MAGA Trump train, and my intention is to render that train useless
Mhm.
and inoperable. Um,
Well, so I think you're in really good company with that too, and it's interesting to hear some of the perspectives. As you've been really active and really out in your community and your church and the
mhm.
different aspects of Greensboro. Can you tell me a little bit about? I haven't lived in Greensboro before. I've been there a couple of times, but I don't know it very well. So can you tell me a little bit about what Greensboro is like as a whole, and then what your community's been like, and some of the feedback that you have heard as you've been kind of sharing some of the messages and the values that you've been talking about here?
So I will Greensboro. I've grown up here. It's probably doubled or tripled in size since I was a kid.
Mhm.
Um, and so we have a culturally diverse community. We've got a lot of colleges in the town. We've got a lot of different businesses. We've got minor league baseball teams. I mean, it's a great, safe community to raise a family, and there's a lot of opportunities here. But right now, what I am seeing is a manifestation of fear.
Mhm.
As a former therapist, I know if someone suppresses fear, there's only two ways it can manifest itself, and one is going to be severe anxiety, and the second is going to be severe anger.
Mhm.
Um, and I think my screen just froze, but whatever. Um,
Yeah, you're
and so
back.
what I see a lot of from the people that lean left is a lot of fear.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of anxiety, but it's all stemming from fear of, are they going to take my rights away? Are they going to, what is next? Because, you know, we none of us know. I'm not going to lie. This is the most afraid I've ever been during an election season. Um, because
Mhm.
I'm fearful that my daughter's going to grow up in this hateful world where it's okay for everybody to hate one another and be open about it. Since I've been out talking to people, I've been cussed out more times in the last month by total strangers in Home Depot parking lots, in the fresh market deli section, outside of Trader Joe's of all places, and it's really,
Mhm.
offensive comments that nobody would ever say to anybody else except in the current chaos that is our country right now.
Mhm. Mhm. How does that relate to, when you think about, you're a fairly devout Christian, right? And
Yes, sir.
are you hearing that from people that are also in that faith, or are they, one of the
Absolutely.
things that we hear about is like this Trump Bible thing, right? Like
Yeah,
how's
that's
that
not.
received?
I wrote an op-ed to the Greensboro News and Record, voicing my concerns immediately once I started figuring out how I'm going to speak out and how am I going to reach some people. So I've been writing op-eds to any media source that'll publish it, and so far I've had one printed in the Greensboro News and Record. I've had one printed in the Charlotte Observer on the 20th of October, and then I had a third printed in the Triad City Bee. And the only intention of my writing is to give people permission to say, you know what, this isn't right.
Mhm.
This isn't the values my family and my community raised me with.
Mhm.
I wasn't taught to grow up and hate people that were different than me.
Mhm.
In my church, we were taught come as you are. But I think that anybody can manipulate uh, a message and change it into something that doesn't even mean what it was intentionally designed to communicate.
Yeah.
And with the misinformation right now, I mean, you know, it's all over mainstream media. You got the people on the right that, they do not care less whether if you lead into a conversation with a potential person you want to help sway, and you lead with Project 2025 or January 5th, you're immediately shutting them off.
Yeah.
You know, my approach is a little bit different. It's challenging fathers of young women. That is the missed demographic that I see, that the Harris campaign is totally missing. Because, in my firm opinion, it's going to be fathers of young women, or men with daughters in general, that wins the election for Kamala Harris. Because we
Mhm.
don't want our daughters growing up in MAGA land. I don't
Mhm.
want my daughter growing up in MAGA land.
Yeah, that's really a good point too. Like when you think about that and you kind of think like, do you really want your daughter and like on a date with Donald Trump, or like even some of the things that he's said, or the way that I mean, look at all the defamation suits that he's had, E. Jean Carroll, and the numerous affairs. Think about all the different instances of adultery that Trump's had. Not just this thing with Stormy Daniels, but if you think back to like the '80s and Marla Maples, and is there a single marriage that he's had where he hasn't cheated in that period of time? And then you think about all of the different felonies. Think about all the different the issues of racial profiling, and what was the thing with him only discriminating against people with the apartments in the 1970s, right? He's got a long history of this. That's you can't call it Christian, you can't call it American. It's religious prejudice. It's amazing to me.
And I'm worried about what happens. I talked to my brother. He also has three young daughters, and he and I are in total agreement that you know we don't want that. We're scared of what world our daughters are going to grow up in if Donald Trump becomes president, and just keeps hold on, dear, keeps on doing the same old nonsense.
Yeah.
Um, I think. There are a lot of us common sense folks, right here in the middle that might traditionally lean right of the political spectrum. Um, that I'm at a point where I don't want anything to do with the GOP, because the behaviors, the words, the actions of the leadership of the GOP is no longer consistent with me or my personal values as a human being. Um,
Yeah.
I voted blue down the ballot this year, in hopes that the GOP can can have a total factory reset, almost like you would a computer or a laptop or an iPad, It needs a
Hmm.
total factory reset because right now there's absolutely nothing sensible, pragmatic, reasonable, common sense based about the GOP right now. It's been hijacked by far right extremists, and I'm going to be very vocal about it, even if I have to stand up on my own and take some flack from people that I know in my community, take some flack from people that I know in my own family. The reality is look, man, I believe in standing up for what I believe is right,
Hmm.
and Donald Trump doesn't represent any. I can't find one redeeming quality about him.
No,
Um,
I think that's the other thing too. And so, just to speak to the audience a little bit, the people who are going to be watching this too, is that, if Joe feels this way and I feel this way, and a lot of the other people that have connected with us over this particular election campaign feel this way, well, maybe you might feel that way too if you're watching this. And I
mhm,
want you to know that you're not alone because we're talking about this as well too. I guarantee you, we're not the only ones who feel this way. Who are also Republicans, who are also Christians, who are also people who are principled Americans.
right,
So if you're listening to this, you can reach out. We're here. We are connecting. We are online. We have a website that's set up here. We have resources. And so if you're looking to be able to advocate inside of your communities or just within your family, your neighborhood, reach out to us, connect with us on the Facebook, connect with us on the different videos we've got. This will be on YouTube as well too. So if you're watching us on YouTube, click the blue elephant that'll be on the bottom left or bottom right hand corner of this screen, and that'll get you subscribed to our YouTube channel. But it's important that you reach out because it's really hard going it alone, and we shouldn't have to. That was the whole point of having a party, is being able to kind of connect with other people, other Americans who feel the same way that you do, and being able to have a place to be able to work through some of these ideas so that we can build effective public policy to be able to build good government. And that's the piece that's not talked about as much in these campaigns because it's not as sexy to talk about,
right.
but it also makes a huge difference. Those are the issues that help to make sure that our economy runs properly, or even on the municipal races, that the pothole down the street or the traffic light gets fixed or the stop sign gets built out, or the all of the electricity works in your area. Those are the pieces parts of government. We're not just running a campaign for running a campaign. It's supposed to be so that you're building something for the better good of the citizens, and that's getting
Right.
lost right now.
And I think, if I have to share this world with 8 billion other people, I'm going to attempt to do my best to live in harmony with those people and not try to impose my values on another soul in this world. Um, I think about, I believe truly that, the United States was built on the separation of church and state. And I do believe that you are free to be a Christian in this country, but you cannot demand that everybody follow the exact same religion as you. And the white nationalist of the evangelical, just in my opinion, I think is harmful to the church as a whole. Because I would think if I was an openly gay man and I walked into a super conservative church, I would not feel welcome. I've struggled with on my own. I'm very open about it, but I'm a person in long-term recovery from chemical dependency, and there are times where I've not felt welcome walking into my own church while I
Hmm.
was in active addiction. So I can empathize with people that are different than me. And you know
Hmm.
what? Uh, I believe in treating people the same way I want to be treated, and that's the same way I treat my daughter. I had a guy, arguing with me a couple weeks ago. He said, "What about those guys that, you're going to be sorry about this when those guys are all in the bathroom with your daughter?" I said, "You know what? If a trans person, I'd feel safer with my daughter with a trans person in the bathroom than I would with her standing around a group of MAGA guys with red MAGA hats on in public." There's no
Yeah.
doubt about that. And for people to, I don't believe that, you can outlaw abortions. That doesn't mean you're going to stop. I mean, we got drugs that are outlawed, but guess what? People still doing drugs.
Yeah.
All you're doing is moving it underground to unsafe conditions the way it was before Roe versus Wade. Women are dying. And if I'm breathing, I'm going to defend my wife's and my daughter's rights and my nieces and every other woman that's played a role in my upbringing and in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're really right. I think that one of the things that we have here too, when you're looking at this from kind of an advocacy standpoint, is there's a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds that identify as being conservatives, and
Hmm.
when our founders originally came, so think about even before like the founders, they wrote in freedom of religion right into the Constitution.
Hmm.
We had the ability to be able to think independently, and even prior to that. So think of like the Pilgrims, right? We're coming up on
Hmm.
Thanksgiving here next month, and it's important to understand that the Pilgrims were Puritans. They're a different group of religion, but they were fleeing from religious persecution. They were Christians as well too, but there's people that you should be free to identify with whatever religion that you want to identify with, but that plurality, that's what makes us different than Iran. That's what makes us different than having a theocracy, right? Where they'll murder you if you don't believe in the right. In the same religion as the state, that's the problem that we had in Soviet Russia, right? Is that they abolished all religion, for communism. Uh, we can't go back to that.
No.
That's really what the founders had created. That's the beauty of
Right.
America, and that's really what literally makes America great. And so to sit here and even ponder moving away from that towards kind of a fascist authoritarian regime,
It's
it's
terrifying.
un-American. It's you're right. It's terrifying. Yeah.
And I'll tell you that like I said, I think some of the changes in my mind and in my heart have just come from lived life experiences. I don't think anybody can force anything down anybody's throat, but I think it does, require some basic critical thinking skills that, if people are, if politicians are removing funding from public education, it's no wonder we're stuck with what we have right now. People are
Yeah.
buying into this nonsense propaganda, and both sides are guilty of it. But like I
Yeah.
said, it takes a little bit of discernment and skill to see through, some of the nonsense to see what's really going on. But you have these, far right media outlets like Alex Jones, and I have a friend of mine who's trying to convince me why I should listen to Alex Jones. I'm like, dude, you couldn't pay me to listen to that guy. That guy's caused more damage than anybody, associated with the media in recent past. And I can't even, when I run into somebody like that, I just move on because I know there's no talking any sense into them. They're going to do what they want to do, and I'm wasting. I'm just, talking to a brick wall when I run into somebody like that.
Hmm.
But really, like I said, the missing piece that I see with the campaign, for the Harris administration, is really there needs to be a targeted focus on the fathers of young women. That
Hmm.
needs to be a priority right now, this last week before the election. Because, like I said, when I was heading out voter guides at the polls, just volunteering on my own accord, every man that walked up, there's people that, would you like a Democratic voter guide? No, sir. And some of them are like, hell no. But every man that walked up with a daughter absolutely gladly accepted a Democratic voter guide. And I knew right then, look, this guy's going to vote for her, his daughter. He's going to speak for his daughter because she may not
Hmm.
be old enough to vote yet. And I know I can relate to that because if my daughter could vote, I know who she'd vote for.
Hmm.
Um, but I've also taught her that it's important to treat people the same way you want to be treated. And when you see something that's wrong, when you see bullying, stand up and speak out.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a little bit scary. Am I a little bit afraid? Sure. But the reality is I know I'm speaking, from a place of conviction on, what's consistent with my values and morals that I was raised with in my community, in my church, in my school. And really, like, I want my daughter to have it better than I did growing up. And what we have right now, I would have never imagined, 10 years ago before she was born. And right now, I'm embarrassed to be a Republican. Based on all this nonsense going on at the top of at the top of the GOP. It's
Yeah.
embarrassing. I'm embarrassed of some of my family members that can still support
So
him despite overwhelming evidence that this guy's a scumbag.
yeah, 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 absolutely, absolutely. I gotta ask you this, right? With a 10-year-old girl, is she a Taylor Swift person? Was the Taylor Swift endorsement have anything to do with her? Did
Not
she hear that? Does that matter to
not
her?
really. She's 10, so I try to limit her access to, you know, YouTube and TikTok and all that stuff. I'm trying to
Yeah,
be a, protective parent till she's old enough to understand, what are the dangers of using social media. Um,
yeah,
so she's not, I don't think it would have necessarily impacted her, but definitely, my wife is a diehard Democrat. It's almost like
hmm
James Carville and his wife. We've been arguing for the last blank number of many years, and
hmm
really, like, I feel like I owe her a big apology. For voting for Donald Trump in 2016 because I partially contributed to this mess, and I feel it partially my responsibility to start cleaning it up because I don't know how this is going to turn out. Um,
that's
but I do
amazing.
know
That's exactly what I thought too.
but what I do know is, I know I will not vote for another GOP candidate at any level of government until a full factory reset occurs and they go back to being, a party of, cautious progress,
Yep.
sensibility, being reasonable, being pragmatic. Because there's nothing about the GOP right now that appeals to me because I can't relate to the MAGA Americans, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I do. I do. Well, listen, in the interest of time, let me just flip to a couple of different things here to kind of share, and then we'll kind of close it out here. But let me do a quick screen share. And I thought what we would do is a couple of different things. Is we'll share. Here we go. You should be able to see my screen here now. This is our
Okay.
Facebook page, and tell me if you're not seeing this, but uh, uh, you know just some of the things that we're seeing now. If you, as the person watching this recording, want to participate, feel free to like us on Facebook, put in a post. This afternoon I was speaking at a rally in Gastonia with Allison Riggs, who down ballot Democratic candidate. Ironically, last cycle I was I think around this time at the Charlotte City Club at a fundraiser for Justice Newby, who's leading the Republican efforts. And it's important to what Joe was saying here that Trump didn't get to this point on his own. And so we have to be able to actually stand up and say, hey, even if you're the down ballot candidates and you are supporting this false narrative from Donald Trump, uh, we are going to start campaigning against you as well too. The other piece of this too is that our merchandise came in. So you can see here I'm wearing a Republicans for Harris shirt actually right now. We have buttons that have come in. We have signs that have come in as well too. Just a little bit of this. I think Scott Peoples, who is doing some of the work in the Raleigh market, was sharing some of the shirts and stuff that he has as well too. If you want a shirt, if you want materials, we have them at a number of different offices at the Democratic County offices that are available for you to pick up, or you can fill out a form on our website, again at republicansforharrisnc.com. And we'll point you in the right direction where you can go to pick these up. Interesting little placard that we saw here. I'm a Republican, but I'm not a fool. Was a good one that the Gaston County Dems had kind of focused. This is Joe's article that was recently uh, published here in the Triad City Beat. And then also just a lot of different voices that are coming in here. So I want to be able to share all of these things. Joe, what made you think when you were writing this article with the Triad City Beat? Can you tell us a little bit about this one and what you were thinking of at the point when you were writing this one?
When I was writing that particular letter, I was thinking about, uh, particularly, I think about when I'm writing, who is my audience? Who am I trying to impact? And honestly, my intention of that letter was really to target GOP members on the fence that are still wavering. Why am I supporting this guy? What are the pros and cons? But really, targeting fathers of young women. As a father of a young woman myself, I feel like I would be doing my daughter a disservice on her future for voting for Donald Trump. What I
Hmm.
want right now is I would love to see my fellow Republicans stand up with me and take our party back from Donald Trump because it has been hijacked by far right extremists. Um, and that is
Hmm.
not what the GOP traditionally stands for. The GOP was the party of Lincoln, and what we're facing right now, is
Hmm.
it's unique to this time we're living in. And
Hmm.
I know I'm not alone in believing and thinking the way I feel about, the current state of our nation right now. I think what's happened is there are a lot of people that are afraid of the anger and violence and threats that come from the far right. So they're afraid to speak out. But, I teach my daughter,
Hmm.
you see somebody bullying somebody, you stand up, you tell somebody, you go get somebody. And
Yeah.
really, I don't tolerate bullies, not in the neighborhood with the kids, not at, our church youth groups. It's not going to happen. Um, because we deserve a better future for our kids. We deserve a safer place for our kids. And I look at it like this: my life is half over right now. The vote I cast this year down the ballot, all for Democrats, I cast that vote on behalf of my daughter.
Hmm. 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 That's really well said. Well, let me do one final push here. Actually, too, is if you are watching this as well, if you want a list of all of the different places that you can go to get into different events, mobilize.us. It's this is the tool that's used for a lot of the Democratic Party. I'm so I got to be honest with you, Joe. I never thought I would be sitting here telling people to go to the Democratic Party's
I know.
pay site to be able to find all the different. It feels so weird to me to say this, but this is where we are right now,
If you told me
huh?
six months
But
ago,
you
I'd
can
be
click into all of these.
yeah. If you told me 6 months
Yeah,
ago I'd
go
be
ahead. Sorry,
campaigning
sorry,
for
I'm cutting you
Kamala
off.
Harris, Democrat, I said that's crazy. You know.
Yeah,
But really,
yeah,
that's where I'm at right now. And like I said, I'm going to stand up and speak out, and I'm going to make my voice heard because, like I said, we in the middle been dwarfed out by the minority of these very loud and demanding voices on both the far left and the far right. And it's time for us sensible people in the middle to stand up and take back our party through
yeah,
voting,
yeah. Absolutely,
non-violently, non-violently. I have to, really
absolutely.
emphasize that, peacefully.
And I think so. So looking at this too, so this is I'm zooming in and out of here. We've at this point that we're recording this, there's 124 events in the greater Charlotte area, and Greensboro. I think you're here, right? You're like 62. There's a lot of different events. Oh, that's Winston Salem.
Oh yeah. So
But
you got
you have a lot
go
of different events that are happening around here too.
yeah, just go east a little
Oh,
bit.
sorry, you cut out there. Say it again.
I said go
Oh,
east
let me
just a
see
little
there.
bit. I might be losing my charge on my phone. So I might need to plug in my phone real quick.
Okay,
So can we pause for
but
just
no, this is okay. Yeah, we'll just zoom in on that just for a moment, and that works out well. I don't know. Can I do a pause? Hang on a second. Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So let's see here. So we're going east a little bit, but if you click into all of these, so let me see if I can click into some of these here. You can click into any of these. I guess my point is that wherever you are, the person that's watching this recording, it's going to go to your geography for where you are. And so you can click into them and then go back to list and you can see, okay, here's all of the different events that are available for me to attend. Go take a look. Go call them out. And you don't have to be a political veteran or again, I walked in as a Republican. into my first meeting in Cabarrus County, thinking they were going to punch me out, and they just came in with open arms. They said, "Hey, you know what? We're super glad you're here, and your voice counts too." Totally different than what I experienced in as a Mecklenburg Republican, and so these are different things you can walk into and then just sign up and attend, and you have the ability to be able to sign up here and then just go to your events. So if I have different events that are available to me in Charlotte, Joe has different events in Greensboro. You have
Yeah,
different events wherever it is that you're located. It's all on this
absolutely.
mobilized site.
And also another thing that I've found useful, and I would encourage anybody to try it. If you have something to say, write your local paper, write your local media sources. People want to hear your voice. Like I said, I can't do this on my own, and I got influenced, or yeah, I'd say influenced to start writing by reading a post that was printed in, or a letter to the editor posted in the Winston-Salem Journal while I was visiting my grandmother in the hospital, over a month ago.
Mm,
And this guy, I was just flipping through the paper while we were just visiting, and I said, "Dang, somebody out there thinks like I do. Why don't I just start
mhm.
writing?" And so, really, it's trying to win some hearts. I'm not trying to demand anything from anybody. I'm just trying to help win some hearts, from a
That's
place
well
of
said.
empathy, compassion, and kindness.
That is so well said. So anyway, with that, we want to wrap it up here and then give you all a chance. If you guys have any comments or want to feel the same way, want to participate, don't know how to do it, reach out to us. I should put our email on here as well too. Let me just whip this up for a second here. But it's volunteers at Republicans for Harris, NC. I think I'm gonna have a typo in here, but let me see if I can get it done here. Um, and then we want to be able to add that, have that available too. So did I spell it right? I think I did. um, but you can email us as well too if you don't want to fill out a form on the website, and just let
Yeah,
us know that you want to participate. Now, listen, there's only so many days left, so but we are some of the things that Joe and I have been talking about here, we're probably going to need to continue to keep working like this for the 2026 campaign and maybe even the 2028 campaign. And it really comes down to the North Carolina Republican Party about whether they want to change the way that they're operating here. We're not going to have any more of this nonsense with Mark Robinson and
nope.
some of this other stuff. So, you guys decide if you guys want to change the party and do the reset that we're telling you you need to do, then we'll see where we go. But if you're not going to listen to your own base, then we're gonna keep going, because
Yeah, we're
that's
gonna
all
be
right.
gone.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna be gone,
that's right.
and there will be nothing that the GOP can do to earn us back. And really, one last thing I wanted to just mention is, just based on a little bit of research I've been doing, is in the mid 1990s there was a much larger percentage of, a concept that seems so unfamiliar to so many people right now, but there used to be a such thing as a conservative Democrat. And I've been researching some about the Blue Dog Democratic Coalition, and my father-in-law, encouraged me to read about it. And really, I mean, ideologically, for me, being slightly, right of center, to making a shift to slightly left of center is not that unreasonable.
Mhm.
I'm hopeful that possibly the Democratic Party can, bring back some conservative members of the Democratic Party, like which used to exist in, the mid 1990s. I know we have one in North Carolina, Wiley Nickel out of Fuquay Varina, but I mean, he's a conservative Democrat. There is a such thing. They're not all, super liberals, this, that, and the other.
Mhm.
And I really think, that the Democratic Party could, absolutely benefit from some of us that really don't want to go back to the GOP. If we choose to go back to the GOP, to have more of a presence of the Blue Dog Democratic Coalition.
Yeah, that's what was his name? Joe Manchin there in West Virginia was
Hmm.
all about too. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, that's been really great, Joe. I'm really glad to have you here with us, and love everything you're saying here too. I think you make a really good point for all you, soccer dads who have
Mhm.
daughters. They really do not want Donald Trump being able to have another 4 years in the White House here.
Mm,
I'm super glad to have you on here, and I'm sure it'll be the start of many, many, many conversations that we'll have here in the next little
absolutely.
bit. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all so much. Let me just kind of bring us out here a little bit. And again, if you want more information, visit the website. Go vote. Get it done. Let's tell these people what we're all about here.
And if you're
And with
not
that,
registered, get registered. If you're
that's
not
right.
registered, get registered now.
That's right. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna pack it up, and thank you so much. All right, everybody.
It's the start of